Okay, this is a video about using modeling, project finance modeling, and computing sculpting when you have multiple currencies or the cash flow in one currency and the debt in another currency. The more common situation is you might have multiple debt issues, one in one currency and another in another currency, and you have some cash flows, and you want to sculpt against those cash flows. It can get a little bit tricky. Now, the other thing, I'm going to do this in the context of Ethereum, so Bitcoin. I see, there's no such thing as an inefficient market. Now, you can get, of course, if you go here, I don't know what this is, you can get forward rates. So this is the GDP and the pound and the USD, but let's get the USD and the euro, okay? And right now, if we go to the forward rates, and we're going to use these forward rates in the sculpting and in the analysis. Right now, if you want to lock in the euro, you're going to have to pay 1.3 USD for your euro in 10 years, whereas today you only have to pay 1.196. That is used, and we can't, magically borrow in euros and then repay it and repay the same amount. There's going to be arbitrage that's going to limit what you can do. I didn't explain that very well. So the first thing you do is you look at this one and you say, okay, if it's got something like this, I can do work. I can use the workbooks.open now. So I did this, and I'm not going to bother. I copied this and got the peso and the euro, and then you just make a little workbooks.open. I had some problems with this. I don't know why in the heck I had problems with this, but whatever. I copied it, and then it gives you the forward rates. You put it in an Excel spreadsheet. I grabbed the midpoint. Okay, so this is our rates for 10 years. All right. Now, once you have the rates for the 10 years, okay, I guess there's a little bit of a wide variation in this one. Then you can put in the forward rates, and I put the rate for today, and then it jumps from it goes year by year, and it jumps till year 7. Okay, and now I'm going to explain how to sculpt. So we'll make an assumption. We'll make an assumption that for some reason we have our cash flow in USD, but we're going to borrow the money in euros. Okay, and I made an assumption that we have a debt service coverage of 1.3. And then I started the step-by-step approach so I can try to remember it myself. Now, the first thing I did is just put all those forward rates. We add a blank. If you put the year in again, but leave this as blank, just like this, then you can use the interpolate function. You can use the interpolate function on the entire line, but don't put the 8 and 9 in there because you want to interpolate on the 8 and 9. So it's like XLOOKUP, where you go up to the year, look up on row 5 with the blank, and then use the interpolate. And why Excel doesn't still have this, they should be coming out with it, I suppose. And then we can get this euro to US, and we can divide it, take the reciprocal, 1 divided by that, and get euro to US. Step number 1. Okay. Next, I just put some sculpting in, and this is all in USD. Okay, but the loan is in euro, and we have just a low interest rate on this euro loan. So the first thing you do is you take the currency that we're going to use. No, the loan amount, and divide it by the USD. You got to do it that way. So this is you, and excuse me, and you take the rate of change of it. You take this period divided by the prior period. If it's annual, that's fine. You'll do that. Okay. And blah, 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 blah. Okay. And so each period we're the USD is devaluing. The USD is devaluing a little more. Okay, that's what's happening, right? The USD, you have to pay more USD to get a euro. Okay, and then you put in the 1 plus the euro rate. I should be able to explain the theory a lot better on this, but I'm sucky at it today. I'm sorry about that. Just put 1 plus the rate, and then you take the 1 plus the rate, 18 divided by 17 minus 1, and you get the implied USD rate for this euro, and it works. I've tried it, and that's the big deal. I'm repeating myself like an idiot. Okay, I am. So this 1.5% looks really good, but because we're going to have to make this repayment in USD, suddenly that rate, not quite as good. In fact, we could even get a IRR later on the debt. Then next, just like we always do, make a little discounting factor. And use the USD rate, because the cash flows are in USD, and we're going to use that to compute the NPV of the debt service. And we remember, somebody sent me a wonderful email. I'm sorry I don't remember the name right now, from Philippines. He said, using that NPV, my boss didn't even know about this NPV crap. And that's the key, isn't it? And that's the amount of the loan in USD, not in euros. And we up above here, we had the debt service. So now, if you always leave those exchange rates way up at the top, now let's just convert it back to euros. We convert it back to euros. This is the amount of the NPV. This is the amount of the debt issue. And then this is the amount of the debt service, just in USD, multiplied by the euro divided by USD exchange rate. Okay, my mind is really small, but this is the cool thing that proves everything. As soon as you get this, you know, I did this correctly. Okay, so I need to remember this kind of justifies all of this rigmarole here to get it all right. Okay, and we're going to do it in another example in a minute with 2 different debt issues instead of 1 different debt issue. Okay, now then we'll put our balance in euro, and the loan is in euro, the interest rate is in euro, the repayment here is in euro, and this repayment versus this one, it all comes out to 0 at the end. So that's our real loan. That's the amount we're going to have to pay the people in euro every day back. So far, so good. Nothing fancy. This is just, again, the total amount of the repayment minus the interest, because debt service, this is debt service in euro, is the debt service in euro is from the DSCR converted. So we get our balance. And then I go crazy with this stupid translation factor, and one day I'm going to get it right. If I take the USD, the currency that we're using, the USD. So now what I want to do is I want to put the balance of this loan back into, because our model is all going to be up here. It's not because of my American accent or anything. I'm saying this. I'm just using it as an example. Blah blah blah. This cash flow is in USD. Okay, the cash flow is in USD, and we want the balance sheet to be in USD. But because our loan is in euro and it pays off, when we convert our loan to USD and put it on the balance sheet, it's not going to precisely balance. We're going to have an exchange adjustment. And to compute that, you use the opening balance. You use the opening balance because I made the interest somewhere, the interest in euro. This was based on the opening balance, and the sculpting and all of the rest presumes that the cash flows occur at the end of the period. Okay, so we put our opening balance, and then I kept on getting this right. Now, then you take this one. I kind of went backwards a little because I was struggling so much. So you take the current exchange rate divided by the prior. That's how much we have a devaluation. And if we're going to have to pay more euros off as if we're in USD, so there's going to be a translation adjustment, and that's going to be a negative amount on the USD income statement. Okay, so you can start with the opening balance, get that translation adjustment, which reduces reduces the value of the loan, I guess. And then we put our normal kind of repayment. We take the euro, put it in USD. And so our closing balance includes that translation adjustment. And when we put that, and the opening balance equals the closing balance, and when we do this again in the next period, and again in the next period, the good news is it comes down to zero. And I was going to try to do something fancy and try to do this fancier. I have this advanced class who's going through my, got so nervous about all this, going through the, the parallel model that I'm so excited about. We did some other work here, okay? And then, now I'm going to do it a little more fancy. Okay, because the real question became, you've got there's a project, the PPA might be indexed to the USD, but there's some loan you get in pesos, and the loan that you get in pesos, we put in this. Now I'm gonna just a minute. So what we could do is, let's use the real rates. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video and just do this. So much for that website and peso. Stayed the same all the time. I'm going to just put my little assumptions in here. Fine. And I'm going to leave it here. I had it changing on an annual basis. I could have put an interpolation in here and everything else. Now, here is the bigger problem. The bigger problem is this time we have I put a regular old DSCR in here, and then we have a USD portion and a peso portion. The USD portion is 60%. We get an interest rate of 2.5%. Now what I did is I put a little bit of a increase. So the peso devalues, it goes up. So you need more pesos to get a dollar later on. Okay, and then we can use this. Now, if you don't have the exchange rates and you use a PPP, you could apply the same idea. You could do this translation adjustment and all that. And then so I put the USD inflation, and then I used a little formula to back into the implied peso inflation with the forward exchange rates and the USD. You can take this formula. The PPP is 1 plus the local currency divided by 1 plus the base currency. That's the rate of change in it. So you can back into the implied inflation to keep it not public-private partnership, not protective something equipment, not perpetual pending project. PPP is purchase power priority there. Okay, and then we have a higher rate in pesos and a shorter loan. Okay, and now what we're going to try to do is take this 1.4 DSCR and allocate it amongst these two different loans. And that's a tricky issue. And by the way, this issue is fully resolved in our little UDF output, which I have to make sure and have it automatically recalculate as soon as you go to the page. All right, and where was I? Seasonal model. So we have our Mexican to USD, and what we do is the step one. Now I have to do this. Now, when I have a multiple debt issues, I think it's very tricky to kind of get this all right. And what we have here is we take the way I do it, there are two ways to do it, and the two ways are shown here on this sheet. And I've had a couple of other videos that do it. And I call this the Debt Irr Method. And what we do is we start by pretending we know what the overall IRR on the debt is. We don't know that. You can put this in. That's going to come from a circular reference, and it better all be in this case, it better all be in USD. So we start by taking all the cash flow, and we use the longest debt tenor we can, because this debt tenor, this long one, is going to be called the capturing debt issue, and this shorter one is going to be called the non-capture issue. The reason I call it capture, this one will be used to back in and make it all 1.4. So I just invented a term. All right, maybe there's an official term for that, and I'm sorry, maybe in Investopedia or in the Project Finance Institute from Kenny, you can find it. Now, then you take this debt issue, you take this debt IRR, and you start the index right at the COD, or when the repayment, actually when the interest begins, if you've got a grace period. Okay, and you just use the basic little formula that says, okay, well, take the last value times 1 plus the debt IRR, but multiply by the little flag up here for the maximum debt tenor. And this thing is, you take the debt tenors of each of them, and that maximum debt tenor is the capturing debt issue. Okay, and then you can get from the aggregate basis, you get the total amount of debt. And now let's get into our Mexican portion. Oh God, am I gonna screw this up? Okay, so we know what our aggregate debt is, and we have our get some stupid words out. We get the total amount of debt in USD. Now, to get the interest rate in Mexican is here, and then to get it, we take remember what we do is we take the USD divided by the MXN. That's that little example I showed you with sculpting with one issue. We did the cash flow. I'm stuttering because I'm nervous about this. We did the cash flow. Why should I be nervous? I could turn off the video. We did the cash flow in USD, And then to get, this was the key, to get the USD implied rate, we took the euro divided by USD. So this would be the Mexican divided by USD. And then we put 1 plus the euro rate, which will put 1 plus the Mexican rate. So let's go and really try that here. So let's, below that, we'll put USD to Mexican change, and then we'll put 1 plus the MXN interest rate. Okay, and after we do that, we'll get the implied USD rate. And this time it's a little bit different because I have a periodic rate. So we, and again, I didn't use the 360 divided by 365, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so let's go up here. The first one, instead of, let's put USD to MXN. Let's just take our little reciprocal of that. Okay. I've said before I should have done a little bit of blah, blah, blah. I should have done a blah, 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 lookup. Okay. So we'll just take that. Now what we do is, we can't do it in the very first period. So let's take this divided by that. The interpolate would have really been good here, actually. Okay. So, and we should do that. Actually, give me a second. I'm going to put the interpolate in. Now, when we're going to do this, so I just took, we had a year here before. And if you're going to do something like this, I've never really done it before, but whatever, put the month, I put the date in, and I put the month of the COD. And the reason I put the month of the COD is once we get here past the construction period, we have that month, and we want to interpolate using that month. Okay, that's what we'll need. So then we can put the the lookup, the interpolate lookup, and remember, there's a new thing to get the interpolate lookup. You can go into the generic macros, and you don't have to do all the fancy stuff. You just click on the import functions, and it takes like 1 second, 4 seconds. Okay, so we're going to do that, and then we're going to, hopefully, I'm going to not mess up, we'll take these dates for our interpolation, and then we'll get some gradual changes. Okay. Okay, I hope that's okay. All right, and then now let's go downstairs. And what I'm really doing is practicing for this advanced class that I'm sorry I did, and the people are too smart in that class, like Diana and Hetty and everybody. Okay, and this man named Dimitri. Oh man, are they smart. Okay, and then we put, let's get our rate again. This is such bad form. I guess if you do that, you should put F4 and just copy it. So let's just get our 1 plus the Mexican rate. Up. This one. And then, I better divide it by 12 and multiply it by the periods in the year, as usual. That's what I always do, to get our factor. Okay, so this looks a little bit wrong. Well, duh, I didn't press the famous F4. Okay, and then we can get this famous formula. It's not a very famous formula. For me, it is. And we take this divided by that one. Okay, so we get, and then we put a minus 1 on it, right? Okay, so this is the implied US rate from the changes in the exchange rate. And just 1 minute. Okay, this is exactly why I'm going to make a web page on this, and exactly why I'm making a video, and exactly why I'm practicing, because I had this wrong. This is the MXN. When we did it up here with with multiple, I can't type and talk, I told you. Okay, we did the euro to the USD. The cash flow was in USD, the loan was in euros, and so in this case it would have to be the peso to the USD. So I'm sorry about that. And then I put this in, and then we got the exchange rate, or the interest rate. And then we can do the exact same thing. Now it's starting to be all regular. We can take this one and just start our little index at the right at the COD, and that wonderful little index will be then what we use to get the God, that we'll use that index to do all of our NPVs. And this time, I've done this in a couple of other videos, but it's hard for me to explain. This is the PV of the CSADS in USD with USD rates. And then we back into this LLCR the way we did before, and we get the NPV of this capture issue in USD. Okay, and I'm one who believes that. And why do I say we can convert it back to MXN if we want? Convert it back to MXN, and when we do that, we've got all of this stuff here. We've got all of the debt service. We'll just take that. This is in USD, and we better multiply it by the MXN to USD rate, right? Okay, and then if we really want to check on this, we can say, okay, debt. Let's up here, down here. I'm gonna really cheat. This won't be that bad. Down here we get the total cash flow, and we have the flag for this pre-COD period. So I'm gonna. Did I copy that or cut it? I hope I can't remember what I did. I copy it. Okay, and then we go up here, blah, 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 right here, and I press Shift Control Plus because, and oops, didn't work the damn thing. Okay, so I'm gonna cheat. I must have not locked in the date. Okay, so what? Okay, so what's this? When the hell is this? The flag for PCOD should be a flag. It should be oh God, it should be the COD date, and we should put a E date on the COD date, and then we could put a minus on the number of months we have, if we have it monthly or whatever, -1, and then, oh Jesus. Okay, and then we put an equal, and okay, enough of that. So again, the Napoleon theory applies, and then now we can put the initial debt or debt outflow at pre-COD in MXN, and we can put a little where's we have this one in let's find the rate, and let's put a lookup here and find. Oops. Oh, I put too many lookups in there. Oh shit, that was stupid. And then we'll click on this one and click on the start date, and then click on the exchange rate at that date. Okay, so that's our exchange rate, and then we can take our, and not apply some stupid bureaucratic rule that drives me nuts. Whoa, you can't do it. You're not allowed to put it in that column because some auditor is going to tell you that that's really bad. Jesus. Okay, sorry, I'm a little bit loopy. Okay, so that's our outflow, and then we have the inflow in Mexico in pesos, and then we'll have the net cash flow. Okay, and then we'll put that, you know, again, that's in MXN. Okay, and then we take this this one's the inflow minus this one's the outflow. No XIRR, just a regular old IRR. Okay, and there we get our, that's the 1/2 of the 8%. That worked. Oh shoot, I should have thought about that. Okay, periodic IRR. Okay, and then now what we do then finally is we take we take the capture issue, and that capture issue is C of ADS divided by DSAR minus whatever we had in the Mexican issue. We subtract that. We put our old USD rate in, nothing fancy. We get our NPV of our debt service in USD. That's all okay. And it's not exactly 60%. Now, the reason it's not exactly 60% is we have to finally compute the overall debt IRR, kind of the same way I did before. The total debt computed better be, I'm going to do it not with the stupid sums. I don't know why people like that sum. It's the debt service from our capture plus the U.S. debt service, not Mexican, you know, because we're trying to get everything in pesos. Okay, and then what we do is we have a difference, and now you have a little, I hope I have a little circular reference resolve thing to put that difference to 0. And now we get exactly 60% for the capture issue, exactly 40%. And then we'd have to work through and do our currency adjustment. But I'm not going to do that. I've done enough. I've done enough damage here. Okay, and I'm going to have to put this on a web page because I'll never watch one of my stupid videos ever. And see if I can remember all these little adjustments. Okay, goodbye.